Hey, good morning. This is April 16th. Hopefully everybody got their taxes in yesterday in the United States. This is the Kubeflow community call. We are gathered here today under the CNCF rules. And so that means everyone be nice and follow those proper code of conduct. And this meeting, for your information, is being recorded. So please realize that it is this recorded will be distributed. We have a typical Kubeflow community meeting call agenda, typically starting with the releases update. I believe, Ricardo, you're here and you can start to give us an update on how we're doing with our release. Ricardo?
Thank you, Josh. So according to our schedule for Kubeflow 1.9 release, yesterday we had our meeting to discuss the feature release for Kubeflow 1.9. We got a no-go for now because among all the working groups, we still need to figure out how to handle the blockers for notebooks and pipelines working groups. We made some progress on the pipelines working group, so I believe until tomorrow, maybe Thursday, we'll have all these issues fixed. For notebooks, we need basically to figure out the best way to cut the release for Kubeflow. There's a broad discussion on that with the notebooks working group leaders and the KSC. We have everything set, so all we need is to take actions on that. Manifest and documentation, the teams are already preparing themselves to work on the phase after the feature freeze that implies the manifest sync across all the components under the manifest repo and the documentation updates. So if we have everything set for next Monday, we'll have our final feature freeze, then the manifest sync, documentation updates, and we expect that in about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks maybe, we can get the RC0 release for 1.9. Then we can start the distribution testing and start working on bug fixes until we reach the final release date that will be in July 8th. So that's it for the 1.9 release for Kubeflow. Just a quick note, we already have 1.8.1 patch release released. So the link is in the meeting notes if everyone would like to chime in on any bug you found in the Kubeflow 1.8.1. And that's it, the end. Sorry, I got the notifications that the recording was stopping and starting.
Yeah, I would like to add that for security/manifest, this is one blocker regarding network policies approval.
Yeah, we discussed that yesterday, Julius. We believe that we can work on that for this week yet, since we got a no-go for the feature freeze. I think we need to understand what's the blocker from KSC that makes this a must. First thing first, we need to understand that this is a must-have for 1.9. And the other thing is that what is the pending issue with the KSC to have this approved? So those are the topics that we need to discuss after meeting.
Okay, I think it should have been merged for Kubeflow 1.7, and there's no problem regarding the on the technical side. It's just about a formal approval that someone from the KC has seen it. It's used for a long time. It's optional. A lot of companies are using it. It's just about getting a formal approval. It's nothing else has to be done.
May I ask you if that introduces a breaking change in the current manifest?
No, I wouldn't say so. It's still optional. You can disable it if you don't like it. I wouldn't consider the breaking change. Still, I would like to someone from the KC take a look at it. I could have merged it already, but I thought it made more sense to just include the KC for this thing.
We have several people from the KFC here on the call. Has anybody from the KFC taken a look at this? And does anybody have opposed to moving this forward? It's been open a long time.
From the manifest, I would definitely merge it. So I just wanted to get a second or third opinion.
Andre, Janu, James, any of you guys have any opinions on this?
Juno, do you want to start since you host the distribution? Oh, Juno not on this call right now, right? Yeah, like from my perspective, I'm happy to merge it right now. Unless we will see the hard blocker from the distribution owners, so they cannot do the distribution test phase. But as you said, like Julius, since it is optional for them, I don't see any problems, right? But just I mean, the problem is we don't have any feedback on this PR from distribution owners, and this is my major concern right now.
Yeah, they can disable it with one liner. So probably I would then move forward.
Anyone here on the call, like from the distribution perspective, who just want to give us feedback?
Let me hear what I just, Julius, you say this is not a breaking change?
Yes. It's not a breaking change. It's a one line. You can comment out and send it to.
So I think like since Manifest Working Group is maintaining the Kubeflow installation as a platform, as the end-to-end, right? I would say like it's up to this working group to decide. Like I don't want to block you guys to move this forward. If I guess like Julius and you are one of the most active person right now in this working group. So if you make the decision, like I'm happy to move forward with this. Unless
Thank you
other
very
like
much.
yeah. I mean Kemon. So Kemon is also in this working group, right? Do we have any feedback from him on this PR?
Yeah, we discussed it for some time. But I think he's also busy with other stuff for the last few months.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
I think Ramesh has his raise.
Yeah, go ahead, Ramesh.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is this when we turn this one on, is it by default it turns on, or versus is it an option somebody needs to go turn it on? Because
It's already used by a lot of companies. It's by default then turned on. If you don't like it, you use the hashtag to turn it off.
so, because it could I mean, if it is not already being used, it could once somebody installs this, they could see a different behavior, right? We are altering the behavior there. So I understand that you can turn it off, but I wanted to see what's the default behavior. We are also at Red Hat, we are also looking at the same issue. I can see if anybody can provide some input here.
I used them on OpenShift when I deployed Kubeflow on OpenShift. Just it, yeah. Just for Red Hat stuff.
This is in line with our security profile strategy goals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one blocker for the security working group in that regard.
And helps to unblock a CNCF requirement for graduation. that right? Helps to unblock a requirement for graduation. Am I just making stuff up, or is that correct?
That is correct in the sense that anything that moves our security processes forward helps with graduation.
If we encounter problems, and I think we won't because everyone can disable it, I can revert it change to 109. But at the moment, I would go forward and approve it. You can add a comment, but I think I can merge it myself then.
All right, I'm supportive of this. I put my comment on. Hopefully others will. I think we've given it exposure. Julius, thanks for your patience. I know this has been open a long time, but we'll get it done, right? Let's get it in before the feature freeze. Anything else on this topic or other topics related to the releases?
No, Josh, I'm done. Thank you.
Anybody here from the Notebooks working group? Okay. Andre, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you want to say anything about the Notebooks working group, both what their current plan is and what their go forward plan strategy, fine. If you don't feel like you can summarize it, fine. But I think we should.
Yeah, sure. No worries, Josh. I can give an update. So, just for everyone else, like we recently started an issue in the Kubeflow /Kubeflow GitHub repository to actually split the repo and explain. So, because right now there are a lot of people get really confused what is actually Kubeflow, and we really try to work hard with the community to address such problems, right? To explain that Kubeflow is not just the platform. It's also like an ecosystem of multiple microservices which address every stage of my life cycle, right? Like components for training, for serving, for tuning, for workspaces. Spark right now operated also under Kubeflow model registry. So we try to help our end users and developers understand what actually we're doing and have much more clearance around the project. So we started the issue, and let me pose this issue to this notes. Just was thinking about how we can split the repo so people won't get confused, because like I've been in the recent Kubeflow summit and many people reach out to me to say I'm kind of like coming to the Kubeflow and see like subset of the components, and I don't really understand where I should create an issue or where I should open the PR or how I can reach out to the developers. And we try to kind of slowly address this issue to make it simpler for people to understand what we're doing. So we're planning to make it possible to deploy several components as a standalone application. So first of all, like the example is like Kubeflow notebooks. So I think like in the future we will plan to make this deployable as a standalone application with our central dashboard and other like components like a profile controller, but some work needs to be done. So right now we just need to decide how we're going to split the repos. So where the common control plane components should live and where the notebooks control plane components should live. And for this, we need the feedback from the community. So we try to propose some ideas around creating a new repo or moving them to the existing repos. But at the end, we just want to have more clearance for our end users. So clear idea around what we're doing. Yeah, I think just do we want to add anything else, you think, from your side on the main motivation behind this discussion?
Yeah, I guess my point is there's a lot of activity on the notebooks or the new workspaces working group. There's multiple projects that are going on that are really big. One of them is refactoring notebooks into notebooks 2.0. The other is refactoring the repos and trying to make, as Andre said, some of the applications broken up and also standalone. So watch for that. And we need feedback from users, and especially how they use notebooks. And a lot of this is tied into because the common components, especially Istio and lot of the other authentication authorization stuff is all tied in together with the central dashboard with notebooks. So watch for that. There'll be changes. They won't happen in the 1.9 frame, but there is momentum and progress happening in the notebooks working group. All right, good enough. Andre, you okay? Yeah.
I think, I mean, if Julius, you want to add anything else from your side, or we can move forward.
No, just move forward.
All right. Model registry. What's going on with the model registry?
Hi, Josh. Matteo from Model Registry Working Group here. We had yesterday our usual bi-weekly call. We had a good turnout, and we discussed, we basically keeping tabs on the deliveries for the Kubeflow 1.9. So we have also cross-checked sync on the release team on the Monday morning meeting just happening before. So there was no particular question that been left unanswered there. So we've been progressing on the remainder task, the activities that I see flowing, that I received some open comments that I'm trying to address, we are trying to address, is more related to documentation. And for everything else that we discuss, including like the inclusion of the manifest, that is the thing that we clarified with Ricardo and with Stefano yesterday is included in the minutes and links. And so I would say just under progress, received feedback on documentation, acting on it, and that's the overall summary.
All right, so just so I understand, 1.9 by default will include the installation of the model registry. Is that correct or not?
That's by default, yes.
Okay, so
The question,
yeah, go ahead.
the question that was raised by Stefano, if I'll try to, I don't know if Stefano is in the call, but I can try to summarize what was discussed. In a previous community meeting, we were discussing whether it was sufficient to have the alpha banner in the documentation of the website to say, hey, Model Registry is an alpha version, so that is already included. And then it's like, what about the manifest? We have clarified in our previous meetings that there are no dependencies from Model Registry to other components. So say that you have a deployment of Model Registry that is like starting to fail for whatever reason. There are no hard dependency from other components to Model Registry. So the promise of Kubernetes is that they should be resilient. So you will see some Kubeflow Model Registry deployment that has a problem, but not the problem in the other components. And maybe this was not fully clarified in the previous meetings. So that was clarified. And what I understand is that there is, strictly speaking, just not a policy for alpha components there. So in the interest of making it easier to new user to try out Model Registry, I think that the inclusion of the manifest by default is the most reasonable one, given all these premises. But of course, if there is any sort of like a different advices, please let us know.
All right, Julius, you got a question?
Yes, I'm totally fine enabling by default, but probably we should check first whether it adds any security problems. So I would definitely synchronize the manifest, add it as a line to the example installation, and decide on whether commenting it out or not based on whether there might be any security implications.
Right, so you're
For
suggesting,
example,
please.
For example, if the RBAC rules are not correct, or it's possible to exploit a new component somehow, how does it fit into the multi-tenancy model of Kubeflow, stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. So which action item can I take formalize here to make sure to follow up on this one? It will be like a pull request to the Kubeflow/manifest with inclusion of the manifest and the instruction, or do I need to sort of like note down something new?
Your colleague Ricardo will probably help. We have scripts to synchronize the manifest, or we have to write a script for the model registry. And this will probably create an automated PR or create a PR in an automated manner. will do most of the stuff for you, and then we can add the line. So maybe you can just reach out to Ricardo.
Okay, thank you, Julius. I will do so.
All right, let's keep going. Spark operator, who's got this item?
Maybe I can give a quick update here. So yeah, we have a few updates. So first of all, I just want to remind that repo has been transferred already. So if you want to make contribution, you're more than welcome to submit a PR or propose any changes if you want to. So we try to find the best time for all the people who are interested in Spark operator development and find the best time to fit everyone. So if you want to attend the regular calls, please check this forum to select the preferable time. Initially, I think we're planning to host like monthly meetings, but in the future maybe we will have more frequent schedule if we're required to do so. Also, we're planning to have an announcement blog post, and I think Vara created the initial blog post PR announcement. So if you want to give any feedback or suggestions how we can improve it, also please review this PR. And I think after this we will almost ready with data working group charter. So we're still trying to collect the feedback from the community so we can finalize this new working group, which will be dedicated to develop the Spark operator and model registry initially. But mostly it's about like the data tools around AML lifecycle. Yeah, so many good things happening there, and I already saw a lot of good contributions from the community. So thank you for this. And I'm excited to see what we can do there in the next release. Also, I think maybe one thing that I want to mention about the release. So we try to improve the Spark operator releases. I think I already discussed this with Vara, but we want to follow similar releases as Kubernetes is doing, or like other Kubeflow components like are doing. Like for example, have release branches, have an ability to cherry pick their bug fixes or some important PRs on a specific release of Spark operator. And we try to improve the ability for people to use a specific version of Spark operator in their environment. Is there anything else you want to add? I don't see Var on the call, but I see Sharon. Do you want to add anything from your side?
Well, this is great progress. I mean, considering where we started, where we're at April now, we've got both the transition over and the repo created, and we've got the anyway, Ricardo.
Yeah, in addition to all that work with model registry and Spark operator, I would like to ask for both owners of model registry and Spark operator, I think it's time to revive that thread when we were discussing the new working group that hosts both model registry and Spark operator. I think it's time to work on all of the painting topics that we have for the issue, and who knows, have this new working group finally set.
Yeah, is there any specific things you want to discuss, Ricardo, like for the show, like initially?
Yeah, we've been discussing about that, Andrew. I believe we have all the comments in there. Maybe what we need to do is address all the comments in the issue.
Yep.
So maybe Mateo, Ramesh, is Varshin here? I think we're looking for someone to be a tech lead from the Spark operator. Maybe we need some ACK from them if they are willing to be part of the tech leads also. I think those are the painting topics we need to revive for finally setting this new working group.
Yeah, I can definitely have a follow-up. But I guess like so right now I have minimal amount of like people who can approve the PRs. So I know that's probably we will see more people from maybe Avara's team who can like be part of the owners files in the future and help us, because the problem with Spark operator, we have around 478 issues and more than 67 open PRs. And the problem is we really need to find help from the community who is passionate about Spark, who is using Spark on Kubernetes, and who can help specifically Charon and Navara to triage these issues, because Spark Operator was like in unmaintained stage for a while, and right now we really need to have more eyes and hands to help these folks. So if you're interested in Spark and if you want to help them, please reach out to me and I can connect you with appropriate folks so we can see how we can triage this amount of work that needs to be done, right? Independently of this new working group data, Kubeflow releases, and other things. Because Spark community is huge and we need to really give them a freedom to help the Spark operator be successful, right? So I think after blog post announcement, we can do additional, outreach work to have more hands to work on these things, right?
All right, thank you, Andrew. Just to confirm, having or not an SDK from the Spark operator team to become part of the working group tech leads won't affect the establishment of the new working group, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so the working group and the development of the specific components is separate, right? So, like, I'm not asking like specific like model registry team to like work on a Spark operator right now, right? And so working group is more about like the people who want to work on this specific, part of ML lifecycle, right? So we kind of like covering model registry there right now and Spark there. Also, maybe we can cover Ray there or other, data prep tools, maybe Dask, right? And just to see how this working group could address different pieces of related to data for ML lifecycle on Kubernetes, right? And I think it should be fine to add some of the folks from the Spark operator approvers to the working group leads, right? Ricardo, do you see any concerns with this? Like if they,
No,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
mean, I know that there's an open topic for the Spark operator owners who, if they want to be one of the tech leads for the working group or not. I just want to make sure that this is not a blocker to establish this new working group.
Oh yes, no, it shouldn't be the blocker. So, because I mean, yeah, go ahead, Josh. I think we can move on.
I think we can move on. We've got that one. Let's make sure that we just follow up and get that one taken care of. We got a couple other topics to hit here. David, are you around?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So look, one of the things that I found kind of interesting working with folks is the need after you've created your model to somehow report on the risk associated with running that model. David is the CEO of a company and has been developing systems for David, last 4 years about model risk management and a lot of specialty in understanding what the governments are saying about what has to be delivered and how models will be managed. And so that's why I thought it'd be good to have get an update for David. David, do you have a few minutes here for us today? And then I'll give you a timer after a few minutes to tell you how much time you have left.
Sure.
Do you need to present anything or?
So I have a deck. How much time were you expecting this to take?
Let's try to do it in 8. I'll give you a timer about 7 minutes in just to let you know where you're at. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. So I met Josh a few years back, I think, maybe 3 or 4. When we were getting started at Fairly, there was very big overlap between what was going on at Kubeflow, especially in terms of trying to make machine learning easier for people to use through tools, and having a component that covers the quality assurance side, or in banking terms, model risk management, was something that seemed very much needed. And Josh and I have spoken many times about potential ways that we could integrate our system into Kubeflow, and we may or may not think that that's a good idea at the end of this, but just to keep in mind. So I'll very quickly give you an introduction to Fairly AI. Quick question about quality assurance for artificial intelligence and how that differs from traditional software. And then our approach to empowering QA teams to get a handle on the new AI tech stack, which is a blossoming field, of course. So Fairly AI has been named a major player in AI governance. There's a growing crop of companies specialized in this area, as well as the incumbents that have expanded to cover a lot of the governance, risk, and compliance needs effectively for bringing artificial intelligence out into enterprise use. So we were identified as having a lead in terms of strategy, looking forward to generative AI at the time, as well as potential market size, being focused in on connecting testing into actual policy requirements. And this is work that we've done with some larger as well as smaller companies. Credit Suisse, out of internal audit, we were building before they went bankrupt, so to speak, or got sold to UBS. We were building scalable internal audit tools for people that were a little less sophisticated with machine learning, but still had to ensure that the models were functioning as expected. Worked with BCG. We are partnered now with Ernst Young as well to bring this tooling that we have out into broader use. And we've worked with the British Standards Institute and ISO. In fact, we piloted with the British Standards Institute 42001 before it became the first international standard. So being able to automate the conformity assessments through testing as well as the qualitative side in order to meet the standards. Now regulations coming in, there is a much greater burden on companies to meet existing and upcoming artificial intelligence specific regulations. Of course, the European Union AI Act is one of the top amongst them, but there's globally a large number of very focused regulations. But just the same, whether you use artificial intelligence or not, your company is still liable for any kinds of laws that may be broken by automation processes. And so having a handle on that is crucial before releasing a machine learning model. And this is something that we've built our software around. So the paradigm of the QA now embracing artificial intelligence powered tools, I think is a changing paradigm, and we're still figuring it out. Traditional software QA expects a deterministic result in most cases, and is then able to give a very clear pass-fail. Whereas when you're dealing with machine learning, artificial intelligence, it's probabilistic, and there's a massive risk trade-off that involves a lot of people when it's not so clear that the model is going to perform exactly to spec every time. The skill set for traditional QA has a lot of experience with automated testing for soft quality assurance. There's an understanding of the software development lifecycle, but not so much on machine learning models. The model development lifecycle is different, requires different methodologies, testing tools, etc. The wonderful thing is that in both cases, proficiency in creating test plans, test cases, and so on transfers over. And this is a core skill set that can be leveraged. And then bug tracking systems have a little less relevance. Pain points then for a QA who has to deal with artificial intelligence is that it's difficult to create comprehensive test cases, especially for things like chatbots, because you can't possibly cover all possible scenarios. challenges in identifying and reproducing the errors, and limited availability of specialized tools that person in QA is, skilled and capable of using. So the expectations for a new set of tools to focus on this user are that they'll be able to generate very diverse and realistic test scenarios that cover various different user intents, dialogue flows, etc. Having features that are able to easily identify and categorize issues as they come up. The complexity is enormous, and this is a big requirement. And then having solutions that can provide automated testing frameworks specifically designed for chatbots or other kinds of artificial intelligence. And this is what we've built. This is what we've tested out in traditional predictive model cases, especially with banks and with insurance and healthcare as well. We're offering now generative AI testing. So you type in natural language very specific things that you want to test for, and then the system is able to generate through what we call or what is called rainbow testing, a whole slot of scenarios to do adversarial tests and get the results back on a large growing set of specific test requirements. Things like, does your chatbot give up a credit card or give pricing, as well as more traditional fairness concerns and performance hallucinations, etc. The result of this is you're able to repeat those tests, connect your model, and get the right kind of reporting that's required by people in risk compliance, government, etc. So we've a model where we have a platform that stands alone and connects into a growing set of agents, and Kubeflow would be a wonderful place to host a number of our different agents. Some are for predictive models, some are for generative models. We've standardized the process of testing, and then through this process, you're able to manage risk. And there's a setup process where you are able to do an initial assessment in our platform of your model that allows you to get specific policies according to a risk tier that applies to your project. Once you have these policies in place, they can be ISO policies, regulatory requirement policies, performance policies, internal custom ones. We're very flexible. They then get verified through quality assessment. That quality assessment is powered by artificial intelligence itself. So you can upload documentation, for example, and it scans to get the qualitative information that you need. And we also do quantitative tests, traditional machine learning tests, as well as adversarial testing that's scalable. And as a result, you get to a traffic light signal, and that's what everyone's after. So with generative AI, we have a growing set of metrics that we're able to capture. Some of these where you have, say, ground truth data sets, you're able to do pretty, traditional statistical tests like Rouge, Blue, BirdF1, and Perplexity. And then there's other tests that we are able to manage through adversarial testing within our system, as well as having a more kind of qualitative input for people that can do some more spot testing on metrics, faithfulness, etc. So are we about run?
Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
start to wrap.
Sure. I'm almost done. So ultimately, policies themselves that apply to projects are they consist of specific controls, and the more policies you layer on a project, the more controls overlapping, the greater the coverage that you have. And all of it managed through our system allows for continual tracking of the current risk status. And then as you change up models or as you add more policies, you're able to always be updated on what the overall risk status is. We offer a library or a marketplace of policies, and you're able to also offer or author your own. And through this, we are very much looking forward to enterprise adoption at scale and very quickly of new artificial intelligence projects. Thank you.
Well, thank you, David. And, you know, one of the reasons why I reached out to David was I was started to look at the model registry and some of the things that we are now exposing that might feed into some of these model risk management platforms like David's. Having those SDKs may make it easier to actually complete those audits. And some of the use cases in the model registry actually tied into some of the reports that banks in particular, but I think other organizations are going to run into the same problem over time is, you know, they'll get audited about how they're using models and how do you produce a report that looks professional, standardized, and through some set of answers to questions that governments are asking. I don't know, David, did I sum it up a little bit, or is there more that you?
Yes. Also, the European Union AI Act requires if you build a new application on top of a foundation model that it's audited. New York hiring law also requires auditing. So there's a growing set of that looks to be where the regulatory move is globally. So this is part of a comprehensive model development stack.
How did they get a hold of you? We probably need we took more than 10 minutes, but is there anything if people want to talk to you going forward? What do they do?
Please. So my name, David, at fairly.ai. You can reach out directly or come through our website or just ping me on LinkedIn.
And you're working with the government bodies frequently and other experts in the fields that are leaders in driving this space, right? So, I mean, you're SR 11.7, the guy that wrote that, you know him, and the other folks, you're kind of in on that.
Yeah, we worked with Standards Council of Canada on some certification schemes. We've worked with the OCC on fair lending compliance with some customers, so in that capacity as well. I'm on a number of committees in Canada relevant to this, so I can always reach out to people if you want some guidance on anything particular.
All right, cool. Thanks, David. All right, we have a couple other items. I know Amber, we haven't heard from you. We also have, is there anything that you would like to bring up about either security or outreach?
Yes. So I need to reach out to all the working group leads. I had a great meeting with the Kubeflow, the CNCF security tag. They've got a couple questions that they've asked that each of the working groups will need to help me answer. So I'll be sharing that this week. I'm also at the Open Source Summit in Seattle, so I'm going to be trying to meet up with other community folks while I'm here, and also with the LF and some members from the CNCF to find out about Europe because we have applied for a summit there as well. So just trying to get all that together. Also, I'll be sharing the content plan and kind of strategic plan around that with the KSC this week and then with others in the community so we can start executing to that plan and have content, at least new content going out 3 times a week. So I'll start sharing this week the videos from Kubeflow Summit and then obviously some stuff about Spark Operator and model registry and things like that. So if you're interested in helping with the outreach piece of it, please let me know so we can get a meeting set up and we can start meeting on a regular basis and working toward our growth and maintenance for the community. And that's all I have right now.
Josh, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Josh, I can't hear you.
On the outreach side, I know Matthew has talked a lot about, and I think the GSOC people also have brought in a lot of new potential Slack members. I know we're in the process of potentially moving our Slack. We're going to move our Slack over to the CNCF. you know, the momentum seems to be growing, I would say, from the effort of CNCF and then KubeCon and the more exposure that we're seeing. It's just continuing to hopefully snowball as we go, and we're picking up more projects. To your point, model registry and the Spark operator, I think, are going to bring a few more people in.
Also, one other note that I'd like to also mention about the popularity of Kubeflow with the next summit, or the next KubeCon, the introduction. I don't know if any of you all saw the children's book that Arito donated. The kitten will be added to the plushies, and they're also going to start including the Kubeflow children's book. So if you have ideas around continuing that series, I'd love to talk with you so we can get more coverage in that. So we are definitely picking up momentum on that front. And I guess we need to talk about the GSOC stuff too. So if somebody can draft up a couple things for me to share on Twitter and LinkedIn, that would be great as well.
Yeah, so do we have control of the LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Kubeflow LinkedIn? We do.
And
Okay.
Twitter.
And Twitter, great. All right.
Yep. Or X or whatever the heck it's called nowadays.
X. So kind of correlated with that was the Kubeflow user survey, which I think Stefano was leading the way on that. And we had, you know, maybe 20 people or so responded to that. I don't know if we've put that up on LinkedIn or Twitter recently, but we probably need to kind of get that thing finished up this month so we can get the results and move on. Because I think there's other surveys that we need to make. And I'd like to get this one finished and move on and start to help with maybe like there's a lot of stuff around model registry, Spark operator, and notebooks that I think that those working groups have questions on, and I'd like to figure out how we get those surveys going as soon as we finish the general survey.
Yeah, the one that Stefano's running right now, I think we're going to end today. So after this call, I'll just do one last push on Twitter and LinkedIn, and then he'll close it sometime tonight. I think he was shooting for end of day Pacific time to close that today.
Okay. Well, great. And on the security team update, how are we doing there? And is there something, you know, if you had to put a color on where we're at, green, yeah, red, yellow, orange, whatever, some new color. How are we doing on the security part?
So we're doing really well. I'll be adding folks to the we've got a Google group, much like people are discussing for security. I'll be adding members of the team. Also, if you're on a working group and you want to see when what's being filed, let me know so I can add you as well, so you have oversight with that. The tag finished their initial review, the informal self review for us. And again, like I mentioned, they have lots of questions, so I need to send a note out to Kubeflow Discuss and to the working groups to get some answers back. But it's moving right along. They've also that group has also submitted a talk to the AI Security Conference in Seattle, I believe, in June. So I'll be asking some of you all to help with that, as I can't now. Even though they submitted with me as part of the panel, I have a work conflict, so I'll need someone to take my place if that talk gets accepted, and I'll send out that information. But we're on track with where we need to be for both graduation and the overall process for the security group itself. So, and then once all that's in place, I've asked Julius if he'll take over the lead of the security group. I'll just kind of be co-leading, and a couple other people have said they would help him as well, because I can't commit the security group and the outreach as 100%. I'll just be kind of with both of them if I do that. So Julius is going to take over that in the next couple of weeks. So we're in line. It's coming along the way it should. So it's green.
That sounds great. Also on the outreach, I don't know if anybody is interested in doing a Kubeflow presentation here in Dallas on May 16th. But there is an opportunity at one of the meetups that I've been asked by Mars to present Kubeflow. Obviously I can do it myself, but if there's somebody in a commercial environment that, you know, a product manager, somebody who has, I think they're looking for AI in the enterprise type discussion, obviously not a sales pitch, but a Kubeflow update. May 16th, if somebody is very interested and wants to come to Dallas and do a presentation, they tend to get 20 to 30 people, maybe more. Sometimes they get as many as 80 in some of those meetups. So I just put that out to anybody who's interested in spreading the word in Kubeflow.
Speaking of spreading the word, Josh, the CNCF also released the Kubeflow course that Chase Christensen did for them. And Chase would he will probably join next week, the community call next week, as he wants to get involved with the community more and also work on a 202 level Kubeflow course as well. So he'll be joining us next week and start getting more involved in the community.
Okay. Great. All right, we're about at time. Amber, I know that typically there's a lot of things that you're carrying the ball on. Is there anything else you want to, you know, update the community on?
No, not at this time. I think everybody's just coming together. So it's exciting to see where it was 2 years ago versus where we are now. So I'm super excited about all that and appreciate everybody's contributions and involvement.
That's fantastic.
I think just maybe.
Go ahead.
Yes, so sorry. I think I just maybe want to share one thing about for the outreach side. So I also know that Alex from Capital One actually hosting the event together with MLOps community in New York City. I think it will be in May 2nd. And basically they will speak about how to contribute to Kubeflow and in general MLOps open source tools. So I will ask him if we need to promote this event. But I would love to, and I also will share a link to the Kubeflow community meeting notes. But I would love to know, like, in terms of like maybe from outreach team, from you, Amber and Stefano, like which events we want to promote from our side. If this event is actually specifically speaking about Kubeflow, is there any like limitations, or we need to like, you know, think about guidelines, because I believe like this is the, you know, we should basically promote such events where people speak about the project, right? And appropriately market those events, right?
Correct. And we probably just need to have a sign up form where we can track it.
Yep.
So I'll add that to the plan that you've asked me to work on.
All right.
Okay, yeah, we should probably get those events lined up. Any other topics, any other things before we close out? We only have a couple minutes left. Well, I know that we're doing a lot, and we really, if you really look at where we were 6 months ago compared to where we are right now, boy, or girl, or whatever the proper gendered term is, we've really come a long way. And I think that our direction and strategy is good. We've got more on our plate than what we can do. I'm very interested to see how the GSOC stuff starts to put a bolt of energy into us. I don't know. Oh, next meeting, we're going to try to change the bridge. So we're using Matthews Bridge. We need to get off that and get onto the CNCF bridge. I don't know how this is all going to be done, but we'll probably change the meeting notes, and the new bridge will be in the meeting notes. Hopefully the invite will get changed properly with the new bridge, and hopefully we'll be able to log in to the new bridge. But we're going to try to get that done over the next few days. So be aware that we're going to try to use the new bridge next meeting. Okay. I think that's it for today. I appreciate everybody's time. Hopefully this was helpful and you learned something new today and had some fun. All righty. I think that's it. Talk to you all later. Bye now.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Everyone.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.